Hi everyone. Believe you have heard by now that Keppel and Sembcorp just make an announcement. I just want to do a long story short version for retail investors so that you can better understand, what's happening and what you should be doing about it. So of course, standard disclaimer, this video is for education purpose, not any form of investment recommendation. What I'm trying to do here is to summarize what is happening so that retail investors can have a better understanding and know what they can do. The information is from various announcements and subjected to my personal interpretation, which may or may not be correct. So please do not use any information here for any investment decision. Okay, now, so the first thing here is this: you must understand that two things is happening. So based on investment, there's two things is happening. One, there is a potential combination or potential merger between Sembcorp Marine and just Keppel Offshore and Marine. Okay, so the keyword here is potential. It can happen, it cannot happen. Okay, they are now just, as you can see on the screen, they just commence the talk. Okay, so nothing is cast and concrete. So if it were to happen, eventually there will be a new combined listed entity, including these two. Okay, so Keppel Corp is there. Sembcorp Marine, okay, as per what I understand, is going to be combined with Keppel Offshore and Marine, and probably maybe call another name or just one of them. Okay, so this is one thing, one announcement that was actually made. So the other one is that Sembcorp Marine is actually going to do a rights issue. So you can see the details here. They want to raise a funds of 1.5 billion, 3 right share for every 2 existing share, and 8 cents per right share. Okay, now, so of course, I believe with this two information, okay, you all have some burning questions right now. I summarized them into 3 main questions. So how Keppel can buy, cannot buy, can sell, cannot sell. Okay, I will actually talk about Keppel Corp and how what are the ways, some guidelines for you to analyze. Okay, the next question is Sembcorp Marine, can buy, cannot buy. Shall I sell or don't sell? Okay, so same thing. That is the second main part I will actually go through in this video. And of course, the third part is Sembcorp Marine rights. Okay, if let's say you are the existing shareholder, should I be subscribing for the rights? Okay, so in this video, I will actually go through these 3 main parts. And of course, please remember the disclaimer. I'm just here trying to give you some guidelines for you to make a better sound investment decision. Okay, let's take a look at Keppel Corp first. Of course, this is the stock price for today, so 25th June. So this is, of course, after the announcement. It seems like the investors are very happy. Okay, there is a price surge. The time is 4 p.m. when I actually pull out this chart. 4 p.m. it actually went up by 30 cents. So I believe the investor is happy. So what are some of the probable reasons why investor welcome this news? So you can actually see that number one, with this combination, okay, Keppel Corp is actually having less ownership of the Keppel Offshore and Marine. Okay, so yes, eventually after that they still have some ownership, but they are sort of like hiving off their ownership of this partner. So there is actually 2 reasons, or in my opinion, 2 reasons for investors to be happy. Number one here is this, as you can see here, the offshore marine part is the segment that is not really doing well for Keppel Corp. So in fact, has been dragging down Keppel Corp in terms of profit perspective. So if you have a lesser ownership of this part of the business, okay, that means that they are paring down their losses. Okay, that's probably one reason why investors are quite happy. And again, of course, this is from the announcement. You can see that, of course, again, all these are proposed. If let's say they are successfully completed, the combined entity will be a listed entity. Keppel will receive shares in the combined entity and a cash consideration of up to 500 million. So basically, Keppel O&M will be high. Okay, it's not totally high for, but they still have the ownership. But the ownership by Keppel Corp itself will be lesser, and in return, they actually get cash. They actually get shares. So I think investors actually do like that. Okay, the other reason why I think investors are happy about it, because it actually helped Keppel Corp, now talk about Keppel Corp, to be more focused, as it actually states here, more focused and disciplined as it executes its mission to provide solutions for sustainable urbanization. So the proposed transaction together with Keppel increased focus on renewables will accelerate the group pivot towards new energy and decarbonization solutions. So basically, it can actually help Keppel to be more focused in their business. So personally, I am someone believe in focus, specialization, core competency, doing one thing at one time. So this is my personal belief. Of course, again, this is very subjective. And yes, if you ask me, I personally also like these news. So with the Keppel O&M sort of being have a lesser percentage in Keppel's business, it helped them to be more focused. And yeah, that is something I personally like as well. Okay. So since we are on this slide, I just want to, state the point here. The combined entity will also be better positioned to capitalize on the energy transition, including areas such as offshore wind and addressing the opportunity and challenging involving and consortium offshore and marine industry. So just one side point, of course, later on, I will stress on this further. So with the combined entity, it sort of, put current Keppel's main objective with his O&M business and Sembcorp Marine, which have the same objective to actually combine together. So if you ask me, from a strategic perspective, it makes sense. So basically, Keppel Corp eventually can focus on what they really want to do, and the new combined entity, okay, with the Keppel O&M and Sembcorp Marine, okay, which basically have the same objective, okay, they get combined together, and they also can be very focused. So this is what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so in that sense, of course, maybe you'll be asking, hey, so now that the price has popped up, is it still time to go in? Well, actually, from numbers perspective, it's very hard to say, okay? Because as I mentioned, whether even this merger will go through or not, nobody knows. So currently, it's just at a proposed stage. And of course, a lot of numbers are not fixed. Okay, like if you actually can see here, the cash condition is only up to 500 million. Is it 500 million? Nobody knows. And we see the shares, how many shares, also nobody knows. So from a numbers perspective, it's actually very hard to say that, hey, is it good time to invest in Keppel now? So if you ask me to really whether consider should I invest in Keppel now, it's really more from the business perspective. Well, I actually do like the Keppel business, okay, the focus business about renewables, new energy, decarbonizing solutions. Okay, so this is actually to me something quite interesting. But in terms of revenue generation, it may not be so soon. So from a long-term perspective, if you actually like this new business of Keppel, okay, you may actually want to consider looking at this counter. And of course, you think that no, this is not something interesting, or your funds can be put in some other better business, yeah, then maybe not. So unfortunately, from the numbers perspective, I can't really say whether after high fall, are they overvalued, undervalued. But from the business, it's really whether are you interested in this new business. Okay, now let's talk about Sembcorp Marine now. Sembcorp Marine. So again, same thing. I'm trying to answer some of probably the main questions you have. Can buy, cannot buy? Should I sell or should I not sell? Okay, so I'm just here to give you some guidelines again. Okay, again, not any investment recommendation. So Sembcorp Marine, interestingly, from the stock perspective, has been the other picture. So of course, again, this is after the announcement. After the announcement, the price actually dropped. The price actually dropped, as you can see here. Okay, again, I'm trying to guess what are some of the reasons. This is my own personal opinion. This is not a fact. So subject to interpretation, which may or may not be correct. So what some of the reasons why the price dropped? So of course, basically a lot of investors probably are not very happy about it. So they have the rights issue of $1.5 billion. If you actually read in detail, so the money is actually used for a few functions, including replenishing working capital and paying off debts. Okay, as you can see here, the debt will actually decrease. So okay, again, I don't have the exact numbers, or maybe it's there, but so I don't know if exact numbers, how much of the 1.5 billion is to pay off debt and working capital. So basically, it seems like they actually need new money for their sustained operations. Okay, so you know, from an investor perspective, usually let's say I raise money, okay, because currently I need it to sustain our operation. Usually investors don't like, but of course there's certain rights issue whereby I raise money is to really just or invest in new business, buy new property for REITs, for example. Investor would like, but if let's say for example, oh, I raise money to pay off debts, I raise money to make sure I can run sustainably. Yeah, so I think this is one of the reasons why investors didn't really like it. So, yep, again, this is my own analysis subject to interpretation. Okay, but of course, at the same time, okay, the money is not just to do this. They also are using the money for certain growth reason. If you like to, you can actually go to the Sembcorp Marine website and look for this presentation. So they actually did mention that, okay, so with the 1.5 billion, they can enhance strategic capabilities and R&D to maintain competitive edge. So these are the few things that I can do. So unfortunately, I'm also not an expert in this area. Whether is this going to make money? Is this good? Sorry, I'm really not familiar with this business, but we know that some of the money is actually used to invest in all this. Okay, at the same time, it's also to fund growth and strategic expansion in renewable energy sources. Also, of course, yeah, probably, you know, some of you who are actually in this business can help to maybe share in the comments. Okay, share in the comments whether this business, does it make sense or not. So of course, if you think that going forward, if it makes sense, okay, yeah, then well, maybe it's actually quite a good thing. Okay, so of course, coming back to the questions, so how now? So Sembcorp Marine, you know, with the price drop, hey, is it good to buy or should I be selling? So the other thing before we come to this, making this decision, you also have to see that. So potentially, if let's say the combination actually went through, okay, that means the new entity with Sembcorp Marine, Keppel Offshore, okay, they have all these new benefits. Maybe I just go through one by one. Create a stronger player to capitalize on growing opportunity in the O&M, renewable and clean energy sector. So if I understand, for this industry, the size do matters. Okay, the size do matter. So if you have two giants combined together, you have the economy of sales, you can actually do very, you know, a lot of global jobs that a lot of smaller companies cannot do. Okay, bring together the best talent. Okay, enhance position to compete for larger contracts, pursue synergies from combined operation scale. Okay, so again, if you ask me, you know, should I actually look at this counter now? From the numbers perspective, it may not be easy to see because okay, the numbers are not exactly very interesting right now. Okay, but it's really for the growth potential. Okay, so do you see that, hey, you know, eventually this will bring this combined entity into new heights? Do you actually believe in this part of the business? Okay, this business, do you think that going forward it can actually grow? Okay, okay, that's why I say offshore wind segment, clean energy solution. Do you think that these are the business that can actually grow, bring a revenue eventually in the future? So if you think so, hey, you know, this is actually a good way. Okay, buying Sembcorp Marine now is actually a good way to eventually participate in this combined entity. Okay, of course, if the merger takes place. Again, so my point here is this is really your confidence about the business that can actually help you to decide whether you should buy or sell. Also, unfortunately, I am really not expert in this O&M area. You may actually want to talk with your friends and see, hey, this are O&M, what's the potential to help you make a better investment decision. Okay, from numbers wise, unfortunately, you can't really make a good decision from that. Okay, now, so the third question here is this Sembcorp Marine rights. So if let's say you are currently a shareholder of Sembcorp Marine, so eventually you are going to get the rights. So should you subscribe for it? So down here, there's actually some numbers. So the rights per share is actually 8 cents. And theoretical after exercise right price is about 0.124. Okay, So basically, it does make sense for you to subscribe. But let's say, for example, if you are still interested in the business, if you still want to be the shareholder, yes, it actually makes sense buying 8 cents after it become 12 cents. So, that is some money there. Okay. Yes, but of course, this is on the premise that you are still interested in the Sembcorp Marine business. You are still interested in the combined entity business. Okay, end of the day, you don't just buy because, oh, well, I think there is actually some premium here for you to scrape off. Okay, no. Okay, your decision whether to subscribe to this or not is actually a lot dependent on, okay, what is your views about this particular business going ahead. Do you think that, eventually they will take off? Okay, so if your answer is yes, you didn't take off, I think you should work up subscribe. Of course, if you think that no this business not for you, then maybe of course you can sell your right shares. So please take note, you can actually sell your right shares in the stock market to actually get it back. Of course, you may you can actually sell your rights, then you don't subscribe. So my point is, if you don't want to subscribe, remember to sell with the right shares, because the rights shares actually worth some money. Okay, so anyway, you don't have to make decision now, so it's still some time away. So in fact, the rights issue offering period is not announced yet. It's actually going to be definitely in August, or in fact after. Okay, so you still have some time to actually learn more about this business. You don't have to make the decision today. So this is the timeline. So of course now it's actually good to know what is happening, and try to find more information. And when the information, when the letter for you to subscribe come to you, you are able to make better investment decision. Okay, so that is it that I have for now. So hopefully that it can actually give you a better sense of what happened with the announcements. And of course, if you think that this video has been helpful, do consider subscribing, okay, so that we'll be more motivated to do videos as such. So with that, take care and happy investing.